What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all off to a wonderful start, smooth start. I hope everything's going well with your courses. Now that our courses are up and running, I want to help you guys figure out ways to easily track your students so that we can make sure that they are as successful as possible and we are providing the support that they may need and as much of that support as possible. So if you like these videos, don't forget to like them, maybe add a comment in there, subscribe to the channel this way, and turn those notifications on so you get all the updates. You don't have to keep going into the shell to see if new things were posted. And you'll just get notifications every time I upload new videos to help you guys out as we're working through this semester. Um, I'm going to share my other screen with you guys, and what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the Retention Center. The Retention Center is my favorite tool to track students throughout my course. It's just a great way to really make sure nobody's falling behind, and if somebody is falling behind, you can actually red flag those students and monitor them a little bit more closely, which is really helpful. It also allows you to email individual students very, very easily, and there's also preset emails that are in there through the system. So you can just click two buttons, it sends the email out, and and then they just have to reach back out to you to get re-engaged in the course. I do want to point out that while we're going through the Retention Center, I am using the course shell, and due to FERPA laws, I can't really show any particular courses or students, but that's okay. I can still show you how to set it up, and then when you set it up within your classes, you'll definitely see all your students pop in there, and you'll see how it all plays out. So don't worry about that. I'm still going to show you how to set it all up. This way you can do it within your classes. So definitely want to let you know about that in advance so that you didn't kind of get confused when you saw no names in there and nothing happening. So we're still going to set up the rules, set up the parameters. I'm going to show you where it's located. Do it for your courses, and you'll see everything will just file in place. It will populate, and you'll be in great shape. Without further ado, let's slide over because I don't want this to be too long of a video, even though it might be a little bit of a longer video, but definitely stick around for the whole thing just because we are going to cover a lot of really good information that's going to really help you keep your students engaged throughout the semester. Okay, so let's slide over to the other screen here and let's get started. So we're in our college seminar course, and I will zoom in just to make it a little easier to see. Now, to find the Retention Center, we have to go all the way to our course management section right down here, and we need to click on evaluation. And there's no Retention Center there. And I would imagine some of you copied from this course, and it's possible the Retention Center may not be visible in your courses as well. But fear not, we can get access to it. So I'm just going to scroll down a little farther, and I'm going to click on customization. Then I'm going to go to tool availability, and you're going to see a list of all the tools that you have access to in Blackboard. And it is alphabetized. So I'm just scrolling down all the way to R. I think I passed it. Here we go. And you'll notice right here, it says Retention Center, and it's not checked off. So I'm just going to check it off. I'm going to click Submit. And you'll notice as soon as I come out of here, I'm going to scroll back down to Evaluation. And look, there it is. It pops right up. Perfect. We are in business. So I'm going to click on the Retention Center. It's going to take us there. All right. Now, I've already put some rules in here, so I'm going to delete them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to customize all this. But before we even go into this area, this is where your students would show up. And if any students are at risk, this is where they would fall in place. So you'd have the student's name in this column, missed deadlines, any grades. I didn't send any rules for activity alert, and I'll show you that in a second, but any activity alerts would go there, and an access alert would go here. And they'd have red dots there. They would all be clickable, and it'll pull things up. Plus, here's your course activity. It'll tell you, do you have any grades to do? Discussion boards, blogs, right? You can post an announcement. You can check your course links, right? So this was the last content created. That's something I had uploaded. So this was my last upload, checking your course links. So that's all great stuff. And if you notice here, I'm currently not monitoring anyone, but you can monitor students to gain insights into their academic progress. So when a student's name comes up, you just click the little star, and then their name will slide over to this section so that you can just track those individual students if they're falling behind, and then the students who are keeping up will stay on this table here. So once everything gets kind of filled in your courses, this will all make a little bit more sense. But this is the Retention Center. Now, we need to set it up. So we're going to go to Customize. Going to click on Customize, and I'm going to delete everything that I've already created in here, and we're just going to recreate it so you can see how this is done. So the first thing we need to do is we need to set parameters or rules. And anytime a student falls outside of these rules or parameters that we're setting, or violates these rules or parameters that we're setting, because maybe falling outside is a good thing if we're setting certain parameters where being out of the parameter is good and being in the parameter is bad. So we're going to create some rules. And the first thing I like to do is a course access rule. And this is basically letting us know when students are not accessing the course, right? So we're going to call this course access 1, okay? We want to include this in the risk table, okay, because we want to track this. And this says specify the number of days since the last recorded access. So I like to use 5. You can use whatever you want. My preference is 5. So now if a student does not log into my course for 5 consecutive days, that student now violates this rule and gets red flagged in the retention center. So this is my warning 1. And I also like to set a 10-day one, right? So I like a 5-day one because it's inside a week. So if somebody hasn't accessed it within the last 5 days, I do want to be notified about that. Sometimes it's not a bad thing, right? If they go in on Monday, do all the work, and then don't check it for a week, they're okay there. There are other rules that we can check as well. But if it's been 10 days, right? So I might call this 10-day no access, right? And then I would put 10 here. So now if a student's not accessing my course for 10 days, that's a little bit more problematic. So, notice I told this one course access 1, last access more than 5 days ago. This is the criteria for it, and then a 10-day one. So now let's go to an activity rule. A course activity rule is how active is this student compared to other students or within specific days. So let's call this activity rule number 1. Okay, so look, we can define the criteria. So the user activity in the last, let's go on a week-by-week basis. In the last 7 days is, let's say, 25% below the class average. So any student who is 25% less active in the course than the entire class over the last week will violate this rule, and now they will get red flags. Okay, so we've added another rule to track our students' use in the course, access and engagement in the course. Now let's do a grade rule. Let's see if students are falling behind with their grades. So let's call this grade rule 1, right? You can have the final grade. You can monitor like a specific test or quiz. So there's no tests or real quizzes in the course shell, but if you did, you can say, all right, any student who fails the midterm should get red flagged, and then you can have that particular item. But I just monitor their final grade. Now, based on how your grade book is set up, I like to say averages. So because my grade book does not count down from 100, it counts up from 0. I use averages. So if somebody's grade falls below the class average by, say, 15%, I want to be aware of that. It's not necessarily a bad thing, right? If the class average is an 85, that means they might have a C average, or if the class average, but at the same time, if the class average is an 85, they are borderline DCF students. So I definitely want to red flag my bubble students there. So that's the 15%. So I'm going to put that in there. And if you look here, grade rule, if their grade is 15% below the class average, they will get red flagged. And I also like to set a failing warning for myself too. So this is the big red flag. So failing grades. And for this one, if I say, the class average is somewhere between 75 and 85, anything that's 25% below an 85 would put them at a 60. So these are like my students who are really in danger of failing. So I'm going to say anybody who's below 25% of the class average, I really want to make sure I reach out to. And you'll look here, failing grade, 25% below the class average. So I like to set tiers, like a warning tier, and then like a, hey, I really need to get this student back into the course tier. And then the last rule is a missed deadline rule. So this is where you can set it up. Now I know it says there's no valid grade center items, but that's because we're in the course shell and there are no assignments in there. So we're going to call this missed assignment 1, right? They just missed an assignment. Okay, so we want to monitor all course deadlines, and as soon as one deadline has been missed by more than 1 day, then we will get that student will be red flagged. So now if a student misses a deadline by more than 1 day, now that student gets red flags. And once we're done, that's it, right? Like these rules are set, they're in the retention center. So now if I go back and click on retention center, I know there's no students in there, so nothing will pop up. But notice that activity alert that said there was no rule there before, that's all gone. Now, had there been students in here, those rules would be in here. So you would get a red dot in the column that is being violated by the student. And when you click on that dot, it'll tell you exactly what's going on with that student, and then you can reach out to them. So that's pretty much how the retention center works and how you would set it up. Now you can go into your courses, make sure it's there. If it's not, remember you have to go to tool availability and just check that box. Go into retention center. If there are already parameters in there and you like them, keep them. If you don't, edit them or delete them and recreate new ones. And then watch what happens to that chart with all the students in there. You'll start seeing who's violating which parameters, and now you can really keep track of them. So once again, this is an incredible tool that will really help you track student engagement, track student success, track performance in one spot, and it's so easy. So hopefully you guys liked it. If you did, click the like button on the video because I am tracking some of this stuff to see which videos are more popular than others. Don't forget to subscribe and set the notifications so you can just get updates every time I post videos, and this way you'll be up to date and informed with all these different strategies. So good luck, guys. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to some of you soon, and good luck over the course of the semester. See you guys later.